So I just saw Fallen Kingdom, and it was alright. In preparation for Fallen Kingdom, I decided to watch the first movie the night before, and oh my god, is the first movie one of the most boring movies I've ever seen. Nothing really goes anywhere in the first half of the movie, everything is by the books and predictable, and there were even some cliches that annoyed me.
Jump scare!
But Fallen Kingdom is 10 times better, I can say that much. I still had the same problem that the first movie had, in which nothing really goes anywhere in the first 30 minutes, but once it does, it actually gets kind of interesting. The scenery was kind of nice, and the camera work was good, just like the first movie. And as for the action, just like the first movie, it's kind of boring for the most part. I think that's due to the fact that it's trying to reach the PG-13 standards, but I think it's just a little hilarious when I see someone getting eaten with all those crunching sound effects. It's just corny to me. There's also characters in this movie that really don't do anything until way later, which I'll get into in a second. And speaking of characters, I really hate this nerdy kid that's in the movie. Most of his stereotypes aren't really that funny, they're just annoying most of the time. Like, there was a scene in the movie where he sprays on almost an entire can of bug spray and everyone in the theater is just dead silent. It's not even that funny, and it's just a big nerdy kid slash millennial cliche. And speaking of cliches, they pulled that dumb suspense trick where the character that is looking at upcoming danger just stares at the enemy and decides to wait until like the enemy is 2 inches away from them to do something about it. It's not a good trick, it just ends up being really annoying for me. But I will give credit where it is due and compliment some of the action scenes in this movie, like when Chris Pratt had to save Claire and the nerdy kid from drowning in this hamster ball. I felt scared for them, but I think I'm a little biased because in my opinion I think drowning is one of the worst ways to die. But even then it's not that tense, but I thought it was still pretty badass in my opinion. And the scene in the trailer where the little girl was just hiding in her bed sheets when a dinosaur was about to grab her was really well done in my opinion. It actually felt really tense. As for the ending of the movie, the ending was just really stupid and an obvious drive for the third movie, which I really want to talk about, so if you don't want to hear it, skip to this part of the video to be free from spoilers. There's your warning, so let's go. So at the end of the movie, this mansion is about to blow up from the flammable gas that one of the soldiers shot, and apparently these dinosaurs didn't think to ram the big door or anything that would lead them to safety, which in all honesty was pretty dumb. But then again, there are these fucking T-Rex proof cells that look easily vulnerable considering the strength of these beasts. But anyways, everyone is in the control room looking at all the dinosaurs, and Chris Pratt is like, if you press that button to free all the dinos, then there isn't any going back. And then Claire's like, but we can't let them die, they're just like us. And then cries for like 10 seconds. And then in a deal or no deal fashion, she closes the button cover and cries for another 5 seconds. Remember when I told you that everyone is in the control room? Well, the little girl, without making a fucking sound by the way, decides to push the fucking button and let all the dinosaurs out into the damn wilderness. Like, come on! And the movie treats it as a fucking heroic moment. Not only was it predictable, it was pretty fucking stupid. And then she says, they are alive like us. Like, that's a good enough reason to let a bunch of malicious beasts into the fucking world, forcing humanity to coexist with them? I'm pretty sure you've seen what they've done to humans that don't have any damn plot armor in the first and second movies, so why even bother? Even if you didn't know the disaster in the previous movie, why isn't Claire reacting to this? Or Chris Pratt? Why aren't they saying, no, what the fuck have you done, you stupid bitch? Do you guys even remember all those people in the huge ghetto looking medical center where everyone had casts and bandages, but you and the 2 kids were left unscathed? But who cares, because everyone is just begging for a third fucking movie. Going back to what I said earlier, the characters in the beginning of the movie also had no point being in most of the movie at all, and the nerdy kid probably had the worst end of this. He had a good amount of screen time in the first half of the movie and disappeared almost completely in the second half of the movie. He really didn't do anything, and his role of comic relief wasn't even funny and was pretty pointless. Same thing with little girl too. She barely showed up for the first half of the movie. There are some scenes with her in it that wouldn't really change much in the story if she was left out or completely cut. Now looking back on it, in the second half of the movie, she also really didn't have anything to do with it. She was kind of like a weight that holds the main characters back a little bit. And as for the veterinarian, the story just threw her away after she was needed. My final thing is that the writing is also very childish and bad. Some of the lines are just kind of stupid and will make many people's eyes roll. They even named a dinosaur like if a 5-year-old wrote it. And that's all I really want to say about the movie. In the end, my first impressions of this movie is a 3 out of 5. The movie's way better than the first one and actually has shit going on for the most part. But there are still those stupid fucking problems that I couldn't help but notice. Like how the characters really have no purpose and are just wait for the main characters, the writing, and even that fucking ending. But yeah, that's my rating, and I'll watch it sometime soon again to give it a proper review. But for now, it's gonna stay a 3 out of 5 in my book. Thanks for watching, and remember that I'm not a critic.
Bitch.